Hey, so what we're going to do is try and do a tutorial on how to fix glitchy audio for these music videos for the music video system. So if I can get what we have here, let's get that back to the very beginning. What we have here is Final Cut. Tools we're using: Final Cut Pro X, Ableton Live. We'll be using some audio that we're going to grab out of iTunes, and we have some video files, which is the original version of it, which is what we actually need. So rather than modifying a recompressed version, we'll compress it. We'll take the original source rather than the modified, fiddled with version. So the problem that we've got is that for some reason, when importing into Final Cut, is that we get some glitchy audio. Now, this audio on this particular file, just click that, click audio, that's right, info, scroll down, you'll see here is at 48 kilohertz stereo, and the video is at 128720. So we've got an HD source. The problem is that it sounds like this. You'll hear the glitching straight away. Anyway, so you get the idea. There's Mel Kim's Respectable, and it's got glitchy audio. Now, I'm not sure what seems to cause this problem. What I can tell you though is that it is correctable. That's what we're going to try and do. So what we'll do is we'll do an in-place edit, or well, actually not do an in-place edit. We'll do a mux, basically it's called. We're going to take the original audio out of this video. We're going to use the video layer, and we're going to mux in an MP3 audio of it. So here in iTunes I have a good quality MP3 audio version of Mel Kim's Respectable, which is on the playlist. And in this folder here I have So what we're going to do is going to drag these into Ableton Live and then reconstitute the audio to go with the video. This could be quite a long video. It involves a lot of messing around usually to get, well, not a lot, but just a lot of fine tuning. So first thing I'm going to do is I've got Ableton Live there, and this is Live 8, and the good thing about this is I can drag in video and audio. So I'm going to go ahead and drag in the video. So just pick it up, drag it, and drop it at the beginning of that track there. That's the master track, and notice straight away we get a player window, which I'm going to shrink for us. So straight away, if I hit play now, click over there, there's our video in. What I will do now is, the great thing is that you can drag and drop. So I'm going to pick up the Respectable track from there, and I'm going to drag it over to here. Now straight away this is going to be out of sync. I don't care about that. And this is not going to be a video on how to actually use Ableton. There's plenty of tutorials out there about that. I'll give some basic hints. Plus and minus on the numeric keypad do the zoom in and zoom out functions. So if I was to play this now, first thing we notice is that obviously the audio in the video starts later into the track than the audio in the MP3 file. So the first job there would be to try and match those two up. So what we're looking for is where it's on the video. If I use that to go sync over here to do solo. Right, so that's tay 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 tay. So what I need to do is find where that starts. Okay. So it's not there. So it's about there. Okay, so that's what we need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a split of this bottom clip here, this one, at this point. So to do that, press Command and E. Oops, sorry. There you go. And I'm just going to clear that. So click it and then click Delete, and bye, that's gone. Right. So that's sort of trimmed the audio a little bit for us. I could have dragged the handles on the left for it, but if you look now, the audio looks a bit like it lines up more now. Now it's not going to fit perfectly because we're going to need to probably time stretch it just a little bit to get it to fit. So normally this is fairly straightforward. Once you've got the start point, it's fairly straightforward to do. So the first thing I have to do is make sure that they absolutely line up, beat perfect with each other. The way to do that is just to zoom in a lot. So notice as I zoom, if I start from a zoomed out position, they look like they're almost in. If I zoom up, oh look, they drift. Because where this is here, that's drifting from that. So I need to pull this back. So all I can do is zoom in a little bit. Now you can only move on these measures, on these divisions. So again, I'm going to zoom another one and pull that back to there. That would probably be almost near enough. We'll just zoom in a few more. See, it drifts a little bit more there. That will probably be good enough. That I know we're being very it's just that very paranoid and pedantic about it. It's just that when you zoom back out, it's what does it look like. In a second, I'm going to play the two together. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to drag also this handle over here back to the start of the video there. I'll add things like transitions like fade in and so on in a minute when we're done. So I'm going to fade out the whole lot, and I'm going to put the zoom out the whole lot, and I'm going to put the make them play together. Now this will sound quite weird.
It's our occupation, we're a dancing nation. We keep the pressure on every night.
So I don't know if you could hear that, but basically that's where two beats are going and drifting from another. Now, as you look at the video down here, as it is, that's not so bad. It's when you get close up and you get later in the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click a point later on in the track. It now sounds echoey, and the reason for that is because the bottom track is now just that fraction too long, as you can tell by looking at this end of it over here. So if I drag the video window out of the way, what we've got to do is we've got to kind of get the two to match up again. So if I click there, yeah, it's drifted a lot. Okay, so the way we do this is excuse me, we double click on that one, on the video that on the audio that we want to do something with, and I have enabled what's known as warping, which is a feature of Ableton Live to allow you to time stretch audio. Now straight away it decided to jump and do something. I'm not quite sure what it did there. If I turn it off, it should. Oh no. And then what we do is we set preserve. The matching type. I'm sorry, this is not the best explanation in the world. It's more to do with showing how to actually operate and mux the two together than anything else. So I'm going to select complex mode at that side. Now what I do over here is, if you see where you place your cursor up on the top of here and you get a magnifying glass, all I do now is drag out, left drag down. And the reason for doing that is because I want to basically pick up the very end of the file, so around about bar 9, I'm going to say bar 96. What I do there is click on bar 96, you get a nice little yellow triangle, and the further in you zoom, the better it is. Pick up the yellow bar and move it to the left. Oh, and look, our audio now starts to look like it's syncing again. So it wasn't, I don't think it was out by much. We'll soon find out. Click. That's fine. What you hearing there, which is kind of almost like a metallic tinny effect sort of thing, that's absolutely fine. So it didn't need much adjusting. You literally just, if I take that, you'll see it moving. If I pull it back and just line it up again, you'll see that it comes back in. What we're looking for is to try and get these measures back in. So you pick up. So that, if I just zoom in a little bit further and then drop it back one more, I want it to sound like that kind of phasing sort of thing. That's roughly when you know that it's absolutely spot on. Like that. Now, so I think what we've done is we've managed to get the two pieces of audio to sync up. Now, as long as this audio on the original, where the video comes from, was not out of sync. See if I can just get rid of this. That's the one in the bottom corner. As long as the audio from the original video was not out of sync or drifting, which can happen quite a bit, then the bottom rail, the bottom track, will stay in sync with it once you pull the length in. The reason this happens is because generally a lot of music videos were slightly sped up to keep the vibe of them. They were played at a faster pace, probably to fit TV networks. So the TV networks just adjusted the playback speed just very fractionally. A lot of them were on videotape back in the 80s rather than digital formats like we have now. So the playback speed on some of their decks, even though it was calibrated heavily in the TV broadcast studios, was probably not absolutely everywhere. It was up to the station engineer to try and get the calibration, so many RPMs of the tape head and so on and so on. But there was, on professional VTRs, there is always like a slight speed adjustment control, so you can actually speed something up. And if they want it to fit a certain segment, you know, say they've got 2 minutes 34 to fill, and the video's 2:37, 2:38, they can speed it up by just a tiny fraction, and it'll fit into 2:34. As long as you don't go too fast, you don't get the pinky and perky sound, you know, where it's all squeaky and everything. Okay. So the important thing here now is for us to just do a little check, random check at different points in the file. So we know that that's fine up there. Fine there. It's fine there. There as well. So I can't see there being any problems at all at that point. If I sort of click into 4 or 5 places and I get no trouble whatsoever, it's still doing that phasing sound, it's not drifting. So the only things I've got to do now are kill off the audio for the top channel, and you do that by clicking that yellow button there, which disables the channel. So now all we're hearing is the audio from the MP3. What I really want to find is the bit where they're going to lip sync it. And there we go, that's beautiful. That is perfectly lip synced again, and that's the audio mixed together with it. So the last thing to do is to just add a little bit, because the video fades in, we want the audio to just fade in as well. That's dead simple. Ableton has a wonderful little auto fade in function, and all we do for that is we drop down this bit here, we go fades, and there's a little block handle here, and all we do is where you put your cursor over, it turns blue, click with the nice mouse button, drag in, right, and go. Well, you can try and match the original one. It's probably the best way. That looks about the same to me. That's done. You don't need to worry about the other end, it will auto fade out. Oh, there we are. It'll just... Unfortunately, we don't have any video fade controls inside this. Yeah, we definitely don't Yeah, we don't have any video controls in Ableton Live. It's just the tool is purely for us to chop pre-edited video together, or and change the audio and add other audio layers and effects and things. Or more to the point, the actual real reason it was done was for exactly this kind of thing, for us to time sync beats to cuts of video. So you could actually use this to take an audio track, say a band or something, and then use it to match the audio to certain video moments, so that they're on beat. So if you can imagine like a kick drum going thump, 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 you could actually change the picture 4 times, absolutely specifically on beat to do it. So let's export this out, convert it, and then put it back into the correct place. So how we do this is we make first of all we make sure that that's turned off up there. Track 1's output audio, so that yellow block wants to be switched off. Track 2's wants to be on, so we're going to get it, and I zoom out like so, and then all I have to do then is just set the region that we want to export, which drag that over to there and drag that handle out towards the end of there. That'll do. It doesn't matter if we've got some tail audio or tail gap, it's going to get obliterated when we take it into the video editing system. So let's now export this. So to export it, we go File, Export Audio Video, or Command R if you want. Live will export this. So go down these settings. The rendered track is going to be the master track, which is correct. We're not going to add any processing to it whatsoever. It's just going to export it. Looking down here, file type is going to be WAV for the audio. I'm not too bothered about this. It's going to just be as it is. I'm going to leave that as convert to mono to off. And then down here, basically, create video file on. And it's going to be a QuickTime movie. We can have all sorts of different format. I need QuickTime movie because it's just faster. Encoder settings. Let's just have a quick trip into there and have a look. So we can do dimensions 1280, 720. So if we go to size, there's a setting for current, and that's fine. That's the one that we want. Because whatever the input is down here is what we want the video size output to be. Otherwise we'll end up with double letterboxing and things like that. The important bit is the audio quality. This is the bit that we must get right. So filters, there are no filters being set, and the video size we've already set. The settings for the compressor is H.264, current frame rate. I'm going to convert its frame rate anyway, but you could select 25 if you really wanted to. It should find it's probably 25 anyway. It's going to end up being 25 frames a second afterwards. So we're going to take it as it is. If it doesn't work, then we'll re-export it. We can hear that the audio is working. If we get something wrong, we'll do it. We'll just redo it. Leave this off. Prepare for internet stream. Don't want none of that. Click OK. Go back out to that. Click OK again. By the way, once you've done that, once you've done those settings, they remain. Ableton remembers them. So I'm going to output it into, let me just find the folder to output to. And I created a folder for Ableton fix-ups, and this is, the important to do actually here is to pick the exact original video file, which is to go, and it was Mel Kim, Respectable YouTube MP4. Right, there's a reason for that. So I'm now going to go back into Ableton fix-ups. Notice the save as name has stayed the same. You're going to end up with 2 files in there, an AIF and a MOV file. So I'm going to go save. It's exporting the audio track. This bit can take a while. It does a few passes. So I'm probably going to cut this bit out of the end video. Okay, so we're done with exporting video. If I go to that and have a look in movies, Ableton fix-ups, I will now have a MOV file. Now it's put a weird name on the end of it, blah, Mel Kim 5.6 something. So let's just give it a quick bit of playback. And that hasn't changed. That's 246 by 147 is the dimensions. Let's have a look at the original one, which was in that folder there. It seems to have output some extremely small video for some strange reason. I don't know why. We've got 1280 by 720, whereas in our fix-up we have ended up with dimensions 246 by 147. Okay, so we've got a little problem there, so I'm going to re-export this. Otherwise, when I expand it to full size, it won't be right. So that's just one of the things that can go wrong. So size, current, compressor native. No native dimensions. What I really want is the original. Why doesn't it have original? Well, okay. So let's tell it we want 1280 720 HD. The reason for that is we can read the video file descriptors from our original source file. So we find our original, which is there, Mel Kim, etc., etc., and it tells us down here 1280 720. So that's the size that we want to pick. Whatever the size is that the original was, pick that. That's the simplest form. Export size settings. There we go. Right, so I've set 1280 by 720 HD. Okay.
Better them than me.
And there's Simpsons tapped out in the background, by the way. Settings, by the way, I didn't cover audio settings in a second ago. So format IMA 4:1, sample rate 44.1 kilohertz. That's fine. That's normal. It's going to get converted to 48. You'll not really hear any change in it. There's no point exporting it as 48, to be honest. I mean, you could do, but it won't make a blind bit of difference. So I'm going to place it back exactly over the original file. It's going to ask me to replace it. I'm going to replace it. And again, it's going to render the audio. I'm going to cut this bit out of the video, and I'll see you in a second. Okay, so now we've got an export file again. It should be at the correct size. So let's have a look. 1280. Yep, that's the one that's at the correct size. And that's the one that's at the rubbish size. So we're just going to get rid of that file. We don't need that. Now, one thing to do is to click on click on the original file if you can get it to hand. Hit return, do Command C to pick up its file name. I don't know why Ableton decides to put these weird bits of file names on the end anyway of the videos. So we have now a repaired video, 1280 1024, and there's the video. There we go. So we're fine there. So the next thing, the last step in all of this is to replace it back into Final Cut. So the last thing I'm going to do is do SkySoft. I didn't load that one up before. Get rid of that. Convert. Go to there. Grab the new video file, the MOV file from there. Drop it onto there. It's 109.9 meg. It's going to become 101 meg when it's been compressed again for the new format. And this is in the FCPX thing. And it goes into the... What I'm doing is, if you look down here, where the output folder is, that's the output folder where Final Cut is going to get all of its video files from that are in the event list. So you won't have to remove it and re-add it. It'll just automatically just be there. I'm going to prove that in a second when it's finished. And because we're replacing into the event, we won't have any missed files. We won't have to relink any any video files or anything like that. It will just be there. So what I'm going to do now is hit go, let it convert. It warns me that the file is going to get replaced. I'm going to let it get on with it. It's going to convert it. So as I was saying, in Final Cut in the event browser, it's linked to the file that's in that output folder. Is this, and that's why it's important to get the file names absolutely exact. By doing that, when this overwrites the file, I won't load up Final Cut until this is finished rendering, because otherwise I'll get a conflict and it'll crash the two programs at once. So I'll leave it here, let it complete. It'll give up write permission to it. When I go back to Final Cut, when I try to play it, the audio should be corrected at that point. So we'll have a 48 kilohertz audio version, but it's MP3, proper MP3 version of it, rather than whatever came from the original source file. And that's the bit we're going to prove. So we'll have this done in a few seconds. Come on, time is money. Don't you know this sort of thing? Ugh. And with the time approaching, nearly 8 o'clock still. And we're done. So click OK there. And all I'm doing now is go back to there. And look, it refreshed the file. It knows that it's that. And if you look here, it should somewhere 30th of April 1958-31. So I wish I knew what the home key was for this. Why am I on? And there it is in the event browser, and then down at the bottom here I've got it in the playback video. Let me just get that to go into size to fit. Sorry, I managed to turn that off by accident. I'm in the wrong key. So and there we go, proof that it's done, and that's one repaired file. Repeat ad nauseum. Okay, hope this demo's been proved useful and instructional on how to actually fix them. Any questions, I'll modify the video and re-upload. Have a nice day.